Now, I am someone who feels nostalgic a lot. I don't live in the past, but I definitely visit it often. On one of my recent visits, I came across this list of the top 25 Disney shows, and let me just say, it doesn't look quite right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mind and More, where we talk about anything that comes to mind and more. Lately, I've been thinking about all the Disney shows I grew up watching. So today, let's discuss IMDb's top 25 Disney shows list. I was so invested in this topic that I decided to make a Google sheet out of this list. So, at first glance, I can already see there's some shows missing from this. But before I get into that, let's go from position 1 all the way down to 25 and discuss. On position 1, we have Even Stevens. So this was released in the year 2000, and I would say this is slightly before my time because I started watching Disney from the, I would say, mid 2000s to late 2000s. That's when I started watching Disney. So I don't really know about this show, so I wouldn't know if it deserves the first position. There's a few shows on here that I haven't watched, and I will make it clear that I haven't watched a show, but I don't know. I've watched some videos on Even Stevens, and it seems like it was a good one, but I don't have any personal experience of watching this show. Neither do I feel nostalgic about it. So I'm going to go right down to number 2, which is That's So Raven. That's So Raven absolutely deserves to be this high up. It absolutely deserves second place. I have a show for first place in mind, so I won't say that yet. But as for That's So Raven, I completely agree. That's So Raven was that girl. It's a show about a girl who has psychic abilities, and she sort of misinterprets her visions most of the time, and that lands her in lots of trouble, and it's really funny, and the family is great. I loved Victor and Tanya. They seemed like really fun parents, and I loved the sibling relationship she had with Corey. I loved Chelsea, Eddie. There was nothing wrong with that show. Outside of Raven, my favorite character was Chelsea because she was a little dumb, but she was so sweet, and I liked the way that she loved animals. I felt the same, so I could really relate to her on that level. It says here that it has an IMDb rating of 6.7. Now, why would you give That's So Raven an IMDb rating of 6.7? I would go all the way to the 9s. But anyway, let's move on to number 3, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody is another really funny show. It's about twins who live in a hotel and they cause all kinds of chaos. My favorite was, I think, Mr. Mosby. He was so uptight and he was always stressed because of Zack and Cody. I found that hilarious. And then a close second was London Tipton. She was fabulous. But overall, I can't say there was a single bad character. There was even Esteban, Maddie. Everyone was just amazing in this show, and this brings back so many memories. This was one of my favorite shows back when I was a kid, along with That's So Raven, of course. Honestly, it just feels like I'm a kid again, thinking about all of these things. Actually, even my dad used to like this show. So that's how good it was. Even adults were sitting down to watch this. Up next, we have Lizzie McGuire. I didn't watch Lizzie McGuire when it first aired, but I watched the reruns when I was a preteen, and I love this show. It follows the life of a teenage girl, or preteen to teenage girl, and she just goes through awkward things, all of the things that you go through when you're that age, and I loved it. I could relate to a lot of the things. Couldn't relate to some, but to a lot of the things I could. It kind of reminds me of another show, Unfabulous. This one is a Nickelodeon show. It kind of reminds me of Unfabulous, but I liked Lizzie McGuire, and I think, again, it deserves to be in the top 5. Lizzie McGuire was such a culturally relevant show that there's even songs that mention it. The first one that comes to mind is 1996 by Ella Henderson. That is such a beautiful song. She's just describing her childhood and how she watched Lizzie McGuire with her best friend. I cry every time I listen to that song. It's so beautiful. And yeah, check out that song. But going back to Lizzie McGuire, I loved it. Hilary Duff did her thing in this one. I enjoyed it so much. And let's move on to, oh, again, it's deserving of a top 5 position. But now let's go down to number 5, which is The Proud Family. Unfortunately, I didn't watch The Proud Family, but I do hear good things about it as well. And I think I'm going to actually get down to watching this because I think I would enjoy it. I think there's also a reboot, right? If I'm not mistaken. But this is something that's definitely on the list. Even as an adult, I want to watch it. But I can't say much, but I'm sure it's a good one. On number 6, we have Recess. Oh my God. Okay, so this one again, I didn't watch it when it first aired, but I did watch the reruns. I would watch this almost, okay, not every day, but most days after school. My favorite was Spinelli. I loved Spinelli. This show was just really cool, really funny, and it was so relatable because the things that they were going through were exactly the things you'd be going through in school as well. Maybe a little more dramatic. My school life was a bit more boring, but I could relate to a lot of the things that would be happening. I just remember just enjoying it after school, having my lunch after school. So yeah, I liked it, but I don't know if I would place it on number 6. I'm not sure. Yes, I have very nostalgic feelings about it, and I'm attached to the show, but I don't know if I'll place it on number 6. I'm going to skip right past Lloyd in Space because I don't know it and it kind of sounds boring. But anyway, let's go down to, so, okay, that's the first thing I don't agree with, Lloyd in Space. We don't even know Lloyd in Space. Does anyone else know Lloyd in Space? It doesn't sound like a great show, but I wouldn't know, hey? Going down to number 9, Phil of the Future. Now it's Phil of the Future. Okay, I liked Phil of the Future. It wasn't a favorite. I wouldn't say it was a favorite. But I just don't understand how can you place it above shows like Wizards of Waverly Place or Hannah Montana. I mean, how can you even place it above Phineas and Ferb, which is the show that's right after it? I don't know. Maybe there was something I was missing about it. I don't think it was, that revolutionary to be so high up, to be in the top 10. It was okay. It was actually good, but it was not top 10 worthy. I completely disagree with this. And speaking of completely disagree, I don't agree with Phineas and Ferb's positioning. That show should have been higher up. It should have taken Recess's place. I said what I said. Yeah, Recess and Phineas and Ferb could have switched. I mean, do you actually remember what Phineas and Ferb was like? It was 104 days of summer vacation. Oh my God, I could cry thinking about this. Phineas and Ferb was so good. My favorite character was Candace. She was also misunderstood. And do you remember Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Perry the Platypus? Oh my God. That show had the best writing, the best episodes. Every episode was so different from the other. I loved it. Oh my God. I think I actually at one point I had a Phineas and Ferb t-shirt. Did I? Or was it a bag? I had some kind of Phineas and Ferb merch. But this was a great show. And I don't think... well, it's in the top 10, but it should have been higher up in the top 10. I mean, think about it. It's a show about how kids are spending their summer vacation. I think that's a fairly unique premise, and they'll be doing all sorts of crazy things. I mean, how were the parents not noticing that all of these things were happening most of the time in the backyard? How is that even possible? How do you not know what's happening in your own backyard like that? But anyway, that's cartoon logic. I loved Phineas and Ferb. But let's move on to the next show. If you're enjoying this video and want to see more stuff like this, why not just subscribe? I never watched this famous Jet Jackson, so I can't say much about it, but unlike Lloyd in Space, it actually sounds like it could have been good. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong about that. But I think it sounds like it would have been a good show. But going down to American Dragon, Jake Long, this was another classic. I loved Jake. I thought it was a really good show. Would I place it on 12? I don't think so. I'd place it a few steps down, but was it good? It was also good. One of the better cartoons on Disney. I mean, Disney had great cartoons. I'm making it sound like it didn't have good cartoons. It did. But American Dragon was one of the best ones, I would say. And then going down to 13, I don't know Fillmore. Another boring sounding show. I am so sorry if I'm offending anyone with these remarks, but it just look at the title, Fillmore. I mean, it has an exclamation mark trying to make it exciting, but does it sound exciting? Fillmore. Fillmore. No, I don't know. But let's go down to number 14, Wizards of Waverly Place. Wizards of Waverly Place was good. I might actually have to shift around some things in the top 5 to place it there. Maybe remove The Proud Family, put it further down, and put Wizards of Waverly Place in my top 5. What? This show was so good. I remember this was my introduction to Selena Gomez. She was so funny. I was actually surprised that she came back to comedy with Only Murders in the Building, because I thought she'd kind of retired from her comedy career. But I loved her in this show. She was like this kind of rebellious teen. I loved her fashion. She just had such, I just loved Alex. And then there was her best friend. What was her best friend's name? The one who had crazy outfits. Harper. Yeah, she had the craziest outfits. But I remember wanting to dress so much like Selena Gomez, and I didn't realize that a lot of the things you see in TV shows just don't translate well to the real world. So if you're gonna mix colors like that, you're gonna look crazy when you go out into the real world. But I tried to have my Alex looks. um but I loved Wizards of Waverly Place. At first I wasn't allowed to watch it because I remember my parents had some kind of, actually to be specific, it was my dad who had concerns about it being about wizards. So he was like, oh, this is about witchcraft. But I mean, I kind of weaseled my way into watching it, and eventually he would watch an episode or two. So that's how good it was that even the parents were sitting down to watch this. I could go on forever about Wizards of Waverly Place, but I don't want to waste too much time on one show. So let's go down to 15, The Weekenders. Never watched it, don't know what it's about. So I'm going to skip right over that and then skip right over House of Mouse. But okay, you know what? Tell me something. What are these shows that we don't know that are apparently on the top 25? Well, let me not say we. What are these shows that I never heard of that are apparently in the top 25? Was I that clueless, or were they even that popular? I just don't understand. Like House of Mouse or Weekenders? What? Anyway, now let's go down to number 17. And this is where I have the biggest issue. How dare they? How dare they put Hannah Montana as low as number 17? Hannah Montana was a whole cultural phenomenon. Everyone wanted to be Hannah Montana, or at the very least Miley. How dare they put her on number 17? If I'd made this list, this was going to be number 1. I'm pretty sure this was one of the highest grossing shows for Disney because it was just that good. I mean, it's a show about a teenager who lives a double life. She's on one end, she's just this normal girl who goes to school, and then on the other end, she's a pop star. I mean, we were living vicariously through Miley Stewart. This was an amazing, amazing show. I had all sorts of merchandise. I had clothes from Hannah Montana. I think I had the bag, maybe even a pencil case, all the things I could get. I was spending my pocket money and my parents' money on this stuff. So how dare they place it so low? I am willing to die on the hill that this show deserved to be first. Hannah Montana was iconic. I don't even think I need to explain its impact. If you were there, you know. So Hannah Montana would have been my first if I'd done this list. I would have kept all the other shows like That's So Raven, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and Lizzie McGuire in there, and then maybe placed Wizards of Waverly Place as the fifth show in the top 5. But Hannah Montana cannot be so close to 20 or so close to 25. What? What? And how does it have an IMDb rating of 5.5? These people are playing in our faces. What? But anyway, again, I could go on this rant, but let me move on to number 18, which is Brandy and Mr. Whiskers. I loved Brandy and Mr. Whiskers. This was also another show that I would watch almost. Actually, I think this one I'd watch every day, but I would watch Brandy and Mr. Whiskers just before going to school, because this would actually play in the morning. So as I'm eating my breakfast, I would watch Brandy and Mr. Whiskers. Oh, I loved how Brandy Harrington was such a snob and Mr. Whiskers was the silliest guy on this planet. I loved this show. I would definitely place it much higher. Because I'm so nostalgic about it, maybe in the top 10. But even if it's like 11, 12, I think that's still okay. It was really good. Maybe I'll place it in the same position that American Dragon was. Oh, this show was so good. Actually, no, I would replace Lloyd in Space with it. Wait, what? Did I just miss a show? On number 7, we had Kim Possible. How did I skip that? I think I was so distracted by how boring Lloyd in Space sounds that I missed Kim Possible. So let's just go right back up to discuss Kim Possible. Oh my goodness, Kim Possible was amazing. This is another show that is deserving of its position. Kim Possible was so good. Call me, beat me, if you want to reach me. I am feeling everything again. Actually, I still watch Kim Possible every now and then. I think the last time I watched it was maybe about a year ago. But if I feel like, oh, I really want to get in touch with my childhood again, I watch shows like Kim Possible. And this was so good. I remember Ron Stoppable. He was a dork. But I loved the show. I don't know how I missed that, but if we're gonna go back to Kim Possible, I think I agree with its positioning. This was so good. So I would have kept Kim Possible number 7 and placed Lloyd in Space, and removed Lloyd in Space and placed Brandy and Mr. Whiskers where Lloyd in Space is. No wonder why this list didn't look right, because I'd completely missed that Kim Possible was in the top 10. I was actually mad that Kim Possible wasn't on this list, but I guess my mistake. But anyway, there's still other things that aren't right, like, again, Hannah Montana not being first, or at least being in the top 5. That is not right. But moving on, let's go to number 19, which is Corey in the House. This was a spin-off from That's So Raven. So Corey, who was Raven's brother, went to live in the White House with his dad. Victor Baxter was a chef for the president. So that was a really cool concept. Corey in the House was a good show. I don't know if I would say it's like a great show. It was good. It was good enough. So maybe its position is fine, or maybe somewhere in the 20s. It was all right. I would definitely place it in the top 25, but it wasn't like one of those shows that I was truly in love with. And then going down to number 20, I don't know the show Madeline. And looking at its air date, it aired in 1989. So yeah, I guess that explains why I don't know Madeline. I was not even born yet, not even close to being born yet. So, but 1989 reminds me of Taylor Swift's album, one of the best pop albums of 2014, I think. Taylor Swift's 1989, I mean. But yeah, I don't know all about Madeline. I'm not even sure a lot of people around my age would know about this show. But it must be really good if it's at number 20, right? Then, okay, let's go down to number 21, which is The Emperor's New School. This was such a good show. What? This is another insult. How dare they? 21? What? No, this should have replaced, I don't know, Fillmore. I'm kicking out Fillmore and putting The Emperor's New School. Cusco was that guy. Come on now. Ooh, I love Melina too, and Kronk, and Yzma. This show was so good. All of the memories are flooding back. I love this show. He was so Cusco, I mean, was so self-centered, but that made everything so much funnier. But going down to number 22, Lilo and Stitch, the series. Ugh, come on now. Again, what are they doing putting Lilo and Stitch this low down? I know a lot of people loved Lilo and Stitch. It wasn't really the kind of thing that I liked, but I don't think a lot of people would agree with it being 22. It should have been higher up, definitely. Chuck out The Weekenders and put Lilo and Stitch there. And then going down to 23, Naturally Sadie. I didn't watch this show, and again, it kind of sounds boring a little bit. Sounds like Lloyd in Space. Okay, maybe let me chill. Let me stop insulting Lloyd in Space so much. But I don't know anything about Naturally Sadie. And then 24, we have Jonas. Okay, so this was following the lives of the Jonas Brothers. Jonas. Okay, so Jonas was good-ish, but it's definitely not top 25 good. It actually has the lowest IMDb rating out of all of them. It has a 4.8, and I can see why. I mean, it was just one of those shows you can watch when there's nothing else that you'd rather watch. It was fine, but it was bearable, and like the Jonas Brothers were cute, and I remember we like back in the day, as young girls, we had crushes on them, so that was the appeal of the show. But in terms of whether it was actually like a great show with really good writing, was it even really that funny? I don't remember it being that. So again, this ain't right. Jonas is not supposed to be on 24. And 25, the last position, we have Life with Derek. So again, if it made it to the top 25, it should have been good, but I know nothing about it. It has a decent rating at 7.3. So I think it could have been good. Yeah, it sounds like it could have been a decent show. But now let me now go to my complaints. I have shows that that I am so mad are not on this list. Firstly, where is Shake It Up? Where is Good Luck Charlie? And where is Ant Farm? Surely those are shows that should have made it onto this list. I can understand if you leave out a show like Dog with a Blog or something like that, but those three, Good Luck Charlie, Shake It Up, and Ant Farm, come on now. Actually, you can even leave out Ant Farm. Okay, no, you can't leave it out. Put it around 24 or 25. But how could you leave out Shake It Up and Good Luck Charlie? I remember Shake It Up. I remember Cece and Rocky. They had the best looks on the Disney Channel, and that is the show that blessed us with Miss Zendaya. So no, I don't agree with that show not being there. And also Good Luck Charlie. It was about a sister making a little video diary for her baby sister so that she can watch it when she gets older. So at the end of each episode, that ended with Good Luck Charlie. Oh, that was such a sweet show. I really loved it. I loved the mom. It was so funny. It was such a funny show. But I remember wanting to do the same for my little brother, because around the time, that's when I got a little brother. So I remember wanting to do something like that for him, but I am not consistent enough to stick with something like this. But the idea was so cute. I think Good Luck Charlie should have definitely been here. So again, if I were to redo this list, we would have Good Luck Charlie somewhere around 17, 18, 19 there. And then we would have Shake It Up. Maybe I could fit it into the top 10. Actually, yeah, I think I could. Maybe slightly outside the top 10, maybe around 11 as well. And Farm, like I said, could have been around 24, 25. But anyway, there's the list, and here's my list of how I would have switched things up and changed things up and fixed some of these things, like fixed how they did not have Hannah Montana in the top five. But yeah, so this was such an interesting experience looking at this list. I just had an avalanche of childhood memories. The Disney Channel was doing amazing shows, and I remember Nickelodeon was also doing some great stuff, but it had the more grown up ish, edgier shows. I remember shows like iCarly, Victorious. Those were also really good. And like I mentioned before, Unfabulous. I also loved Unfabulous. Disney and iCarly were really holding us, sorry, Disney and Nickelodeon were really holding us down back in the day. I really genuinely enjoyed all of their shows. Oh yeah. Now, actually, I think from here I'm going to watch maybe some Kim Possible because, yeah, the nostalgia just hit me again. But anyway, what are your thoughts? Are there any shows that are not on this list that you love? And do you agree? Do you disagree with this list?